I gave you the word treasure, the idea of treasure. And, we have our half sleeping ogre and our three thieves and treasure. And this is exactly the direction, but it wasn't prescriptive, right? Like I wasn't like, okay, we are doing this form of this. It was like, this is the concept. What can we do with it? What's the most interesting thing that we could think off the top of our heads that involves treasure? Um, so do you see this as being like kind of what we talked about, like a single image and then potentially just like a little story that goes along with it as opposed to like multi things? Like that's kind of how I'm feeling it's coming across.
I mean, hypothetically, this could even be a single panel,
Hmm.
and then you have other panels on top of it,
Mm.
um, to lead up to what came before and then what's going to happen next, right? Like this could
Yep.
be, um, I drew this the way I drew it as a, practical thing, not thinking about like, okay, there's more panels that we're going to do before and
Yeah.
after. I just thought about what's the way that I can tell an interesting little story with a single image, I guess, right? And so, uh, there's a lot of potential for this. If there another way, if I wanted to make this more of like a pinup, I guess I could have made this a little bit more dynamic where the ogre's actually like gotten up and they're all falling down off of it. And then it's like, oh, so it's a little bit more of like a
Right.
interesting, like, it's a way to capture or encapsulate like a lot of things that may be happening in this story. Um, right. So that would be like a cover or pinup of some sort that just isn't just it makes the viewer go, ooh, what's this? What are the
Hmm.
possibilities that I'm gonna read about inside this? Because there's all these different elements happening. There looks like they're treasure seekers, looks like it's some place that's like a D&D type setting.
Yep.
It doesn't exist in our world, but or if it did, it existed very, very far in the past.
Right.
Like are, we don't know if they're good guys or not, but they look like like depending on how I make these characters, they could look like, like kind of appealing looking. So then you go, oh, well, they're obviously the heroes or the anti-heroes in this story. They're not the bad guys, right? And
Right. It's like, are they
um,
stealing their treasure back from the ogre? Like, was it theirs first and the ogre stole it and they're taking it back? Or was it, the ogre's rightful plundering that they are stealing? There's so many ways you could go with it. And like we talked about, like, what is it? Like my feeling is it's got some element of gold in it, but maybe there's also something interesting, right? Something kind of unexpected. That's the true treasure hidden in the treasure box, right? So there's the gold coins and the gold bars, but there is that one thing in there that's the ogre's precious thing that they're trying to get to before he fully wakes up and catches them.
yeah, exactly. And I just want to add, honestly, when I'm doing these things, it's not like I have a lot of thought going into it. Like, it's not like I was like, to your point where you're like, do you have any idea of what you want to draw? And I'm like, nope,
Nope.
not a clue, not a thought in my head. And so this is like spontaneous. This is on the spot. So I have no idea. Like, I'm not thinking if I were thinking ahead and going, what would be this is the story. What would be
Hmm.
a really cool image to draw for this story that's going to like really tell us the best way, I think, that will get somebody to want to open the book, right?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is just going, well, you gave me a prompt. I'm going with kind of the images that are in my head. And then I'm going, and as I'm drawing them, I'm like, uh, using these images now as a reference for me to change it slightly and then to, keep on refining it so that I'm, getting something that I'm interested in drawing. Uh,
Hmm.
right. And so, like with the door, which is different. So it's our other story that we're doing. That's our long form story. And we're like right now working on page one, like rough pencils of page one, right. With that. that one's a lot more planned. And so
Yes.
because that one's a lot more planned, and you can watch all the steps we got to get to that planning. Now I think, with that, it's a much more, it's a little bit more of an intriguing kind of, like thought out, process. Right.
Right.
And
It's
so,
very specific.
yeah, with this, it's just, I don't know what the characters look like. I don't know who they are. I don't know, exactly what the ogre looks like, but I'm using like elements of design. As I said, like, there's three of them because the ogre isn't really, dynamic, it's very static. So I wanted element of three to make something a little bit more interesting. The characters, I'm trying to make different shapes. One of them's a little bit longer and slimmer. One of them's a bit thicker.
Hmm.
One of them is a little bit combination of both of them. Right. I don't, exactly, I may keep on refining them to make them a little bit more different to stand out. But again, these are all like things that I'm figuring out as I'm, using them as reference and getting a sense of like, oh, okay, I'm seeing this a little bit more clearly now. Do we have any comments or anybody that's, saying, asking questions?
Nope, just hellos.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Um, Feel
So it's
free.
funny. So I think you have him holding like a tree trunk, right? Is that like kind of like that's going to be like his club? Is that what he's got in his hand?
Yeah, yeah, I guess it came from a tree.
Yeah. At
I
first
mean,
I thought it was a shark and I was like, ooh, when
holding
you
a
first drew
shark.
it, I'm like, how did he get a shark in his hand? And then you erase something and refine it. I'm like, oh, I think it's more like a tree club. But at first I was like, wow, okay,
But what if
that's
it
a unique
is?
element. He's holding a shark.
But what if it is? What if now that I'm going, what if it's like a wooden shark, like something that
Yeah, it's just like
actually,
when you did it at first, the first thing that popped into my mind was he's holding a shark. And I was like, okay, now that's interesting because that's a bit like unexpected. And that could be something to do with what's part of that treasure, right? Like this guy has got some unique things.
yeah, if I were to have it, so I'd have to show a little bit more. Again, you'd, maybe I'll zoom out a little bit more,
Yeah, because
draw a
it
little
was
bit
funny. It just
more.
hit me like when you first drew it, it just caught my eye. And the first thing I thought was, that's cool. Why
So,
does he have a shark?
right now it's a shark. Now
Yep.
it's a wooden, it's something. We don't know why it's a shark. We don't know if it's like an actual, like,
He killed it. That's his dinner. He's going to eat it when he wakes up.
yeah, I mean, that's a really weird kind of thing. It's like a stinky shark that just, um, you know,
It
there.
was his after nap snack. He's gonna have that shark.
It's kind of a funny. It does create for a funny kind of like, possibility of like, okay, so now we've got this shark that what is it going to like whip around and try to
Well,
attack
that's
him with, right?
and honestly, like for me, it's I do love things that are like kind of random that you're like, wait a second, what is happening here?
Sure, why not? I'm open to it. Right? We don't know if there's like maybe if I were to draw like, now I can put like, what could be like the ocean in the
Yeah.
background there, right?
Yeah,
So
maybe they
maybe,
came by boat to
yeah.
get the treasure.
Sometimes I like to draw something and then I'm like, okay, I want to get a little bit of reference here. So I have a program, it's like called Art Pose. It's essentially like, yeah, I think you have to pay for it, but it's essentially it's like, a three it poses characters for you.
Oh, that's a
Um,
cool program.
yeah, it's just I use it like so. And forgive me for talking off camera. I'm going to talk off camera a little bit as I try to get this. So
That's okay. We
basically,
know you're there.
yeah. So basically, uh, I like to, figure out what my pose is going to be and draw as much of it as I can, and then I will, um, from there, I will sometimes go, okay, what is the lighting on this going to look like? Am I getting the structure correct? Most of the time, I'm at this point, I'm r- I can't really. I have a little bit of a, uh, uh thing when it comes to like, my anatomy. I think sometimes like I'm a little bit weak when it comes to anatomy,
Mhm.
and so I'm always doubting myself, I guess is the best way to put it when it comes to like certain ways that the muscle, like, it's in certain positions may lay on, You know, like
Right.
uh, and so anyway, I just like to verify, but also a lot of times I just want to make sure I've got like um the lighting on it. If there's some lighting I want to get, and um just to give me an idea. I don't really so here's the thing. It's more of like reference. I don't really use it in a way where I'm like copying it exactly. I just like to use it to verify, and then sometimes if I'm having real difficulty with something and I'm like, okay, this is if you're drawing something that's in a really warped, like it's a really super foreshortened, and you're
Hmm.
just wanting to get to verify like some of the extreme angles that you're creating, um or like as I said, if it's like the lighting aspect of it, and you're just like, okay, I think I've got the lighting right, or I want to see what this looks like with a different light source.
Right.
And so it gives you the opportunity to do that. But I mean, for the most part, I think it's just become a bit of a crutch for me, just because I'm crutch in the sense of like um doubting myself. I don't, as I said, I don't really use it super like exactly, because I find that the problem with using reference, if you've created something that looks really cool, it may not be exactly anatomically correct. And as soon as you go in and start to like play around with it to make it anatomically correct, you'll lose something. So then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, now whatever was really cool about it is not there anymore. And so you have to almost go back to the rougher thing and just kind of go, okay, I'll just fudge it a little bit. So maybe perspective is slightly off. The anatomy isn't exactly, but the composition looks really cool, right? So,
Well, I feel like, and that's at the end of the day, the most important part, right?
right.
People will forgive you something that's a slightly off bit of anatomy if it's a really cool image, a really cool composition, as opposed to be like, ah, you got that perfect. But it's like, everything is perfect, but it's boring, right? You
Yeah,
want to make sure that it keeps the energy and the intent over being perfect, I would think.
exactly. And that's exactly what it is, right? So, but I mean, listen, when it comes to certain artists who have very hyper realistic
Different purpose for sure.
illustrations, they want it to look really
Hmm.
specifically like they'll take their own reference, right?
Right.
And that even from there they change it, right? They understand anatomy and perspective and lighting and stuff enough to be able to go, okay, I'm just going to pick and choose what I want from this. So they'll take a photo of themselves or a photo of models, friends, things like that, with the lighting and the pose and stuff. And then if you ever see what they actually illustrated, you'll see, oh, well, yeah, they changed this here to make it a little bit. They
Yeah.
changed the angle of the head a little bit. They changed the angle of the light a little bit. It's all just really at the end of the day, it's whatever helps you get to where you need to get to, especially if you're on a deadline.
Right.
Well,
Well, that's part of it too.
yeah,
I love that we've added the water and the shark because I now I'm so intrigued by what the heck is going on here. It's
yeah,
just gotten so much more interesting just
amazing.
because now there's questions, right? In a good way. Because now you're looking at it, you're like, wow, where am I? And what just happened before this moment?
Yeah. So I'll throw in like some of these cool looking
Yeah.
rocks and stuff like that you see in the water, like some
Yeah.
places in the water in like Vietnam and
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely like the story just got this extra layer that it didn't have before, with this going on. And then again, now you're really wondering where these guys came from, right? Like, did they come out of the water? Did they come out of a forest nearby? Did they come off of a boat? Where are they going to go once they get the treasure from him?
yeah,
And, how have they got that escape route where they're like, because maybe this ogre is a real good swimmer. That's how he ended up with the shark, right? So it's like that's not the best way to escape from him is to go back in the water. If that's what he's about, or is it kind of like that, you know, buried treasure? There was a map to it kind of thing where it led them to this island, not realizing that the ogre with the shark was going to be sleeping on the shore with the treasure. And now they had to make up a plan B, which is where that rock came from, right? That they were like last minute being like, well, we gotta, get it off of this sleeping giant. How are we going to fool him? And that's where it's like grab a rock out of the water, we'll put it on his chest, but he woke up and changed the plan.
Right. And so to your point of like, where are they coming from? I'm thinking, wait, okay, so maybe there is a ship moored out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they have some kind of a pirate ship maybe that
Yeah.
they uh live in a little bit one piece action, right? So maybe
Yeah.
there's maybe these characters are uh what I like about, if anybody's ever seen, and do we have any more questions? I wasn't
No,
sure if we,
nothing new.
okay. So one of the things I really like about One Piece is that it um it takes like uh tropes and mashes them together in different
Yeah.
ways. I'm talking about the live action. I've never actually watched the animated one. But it takes these tropes, and so um it's almost like if it existed, like if this place, wherever this place existed, um, it could be modern in some ways, right? They
Hmm.
use things that feel like it could be modern, but also it's obvious that it doesn't exist here, but it takes things that are similar to here.
Yes.
So, like you're not sure if it's uh like when you meet these characters, like are they of a modern mindset with certain kinds of like technologies, but then other characters are very almost like old fashioned in ways.
Yep.
So it like mashes up time and different historical chapters, and then different kinds of like genres. Like you've got the like the samurais, and then you've got, it's just there's a lot happening, and it all works really well.